Hello everybody. So I'm recording more tabs today as the Wild West faction came out on Tuesday and I was a bit busy with school still. I can't wait till that's over to record it. So here I am. I didn't record anything last weekend and I'm sorry about that. Just wasn't motivated, but without further ado, I think we should probably look at them. I want to make sure this is recording since I guarantee I probably messed something up. No, okay. Um, Okay, yeah, the Wild West faction, sorry. So, we have 3 secret units, and the 7 main units, obviously. And for the 7 main units, we have the Dynamite Thrower, the Miner, the Cactus, the Gunslinger, sorry, that was my phone, the Gunslinger, the Lasso, the Deadeye, and the Quick Draw. So, if we start off, I guess, with an example of each one, right? I guess we'll just go for, I don't know, something. Oh, I thought I clicked on the Dynamite Thrower. So I guess we'll start with the Dynamite Thrower and work our way up. Each of them has their own, like, strengths and weaknesses. So, that's 120. Is there anything better? It's 140. I'm just trying to find a decent matchup here. 120. Against a Sarissa. That makes sense. This is one of the more support-heavy units. As it more banks on other things being able to distract while it does its damage. Oh, sorry for the low frame rate. Still haven't gotten that new graphics card yet, even though I want to. Also, the Sarissa is... Alright, didn't get a chance to shine. I'll put in a few more just so we can see what it does. Again, it's not the best unit. It's not really meant to be. Can't really take on other things since Weight Glass, and this faction especially, I think, is more meant to be put into together. Like, it needs to be with other things to be effective, I think. That's my main takeaway from it. So they toss their dynamite, and then punch them, and hopefully they're over the dynamite. Since when that explodes, like, they keep it in place, and then, you know, the red enemy's defeated. Alright, that's who didn't die, since it looks like these other two both died. So, next off, we have the Miner. So, these guys can kind of stand on their own, and... Oh, not Ohm. Also, this really reminds me of the Farmer faction. How you have a unit weaker than, you know, your classic, just plain old melee unit. Kind of like how you had the Halfling, and then the Farmer, and the Farmer's the classic melee unit. As well as with some of the others, the Quick Draw feels very much like the Scarecrow to me. And if we go back to the Farmer faction, what's it called? The Lasso feels a lot like the Wheelbarrow, even if they're not in the same spot. Just feels like they're very similar factions, and I think that's a good thing, as the Farmer faction is one of my favorites. So, yeah, but back to the Miner. They cost 200, and are slow but do a lot of damage when they do end up hitting. So let me see if I can find something good for 200. There's not many amazing units that only cost $200, by the way. So, alright, I might just use the Monk. I haven't checked off actions. 300, check those guys. And Brawler's 220, we can try that. I do want to look through everything just to make sure there isn't a better match. A Balloon Archer, sure. Give him some range. This feels more like, you know, your classic boots on the ground, you know, your filler unit. Your, not filler, but, you know, the one that you use to get your army off the ground, per se. Balloon archers are a really annoying unit to me, by the way. Like, I don't hate them. Just, the way they work, it can be really frustrating. It's also been a while since I've done a Tabs video, but, whatever. Hopefully this does well, since I'm probably gonna make a few videos on the campaign. See, do a lot of damage, but are slow, and I'm also surprised the Balloon Archer didn't win that. I wasn't planning for it, but just after it just the miner just got stalled in the air. So, yeah. Also, it feels a lot like the Blunderbuss to me. Not amazing in the early game, but kind of a sleeper. Like, a sleeper pick. Since the Blunderbuss, I think, always, like, can't even be killed by the Swordcaster, which is really good. And I think this is going to be a similar situation where it's not going to be good at all in the early game. Like, whatsoever. But in the later game, and you have a lot of money, they're going to be one of the more useful units. Alright, next off, we have the Cactus. Personally, one of my favorite units, just because of what it does. And it's different. We haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen, or I don't remember. Yeah. 1 second. Okay, so I haven't seen anything similar, necessarily too similar to this in the past. It's a very unique unit. And as you'll see, like, it'll stick to its opponent, and when it gets hit, it shoots out cactus spikes. Also, very, very strong against projectile units, as it has the same thing as the Blunderbuss's armor, I think. So, we'll have him fight a chieftain. Okay. These guys feel like one of the few units that can do some damage on their own. And you don't need other units to support them. Oh, really? Red defeat is that easy? Okay. Maybe the chieftain wasn't the best pick to show this off, but... let's see here... 300... I'm just trying to find something of similar value. How about a halberd? I don't think these guys do too well against physical attacks, but I think against stuff like range, they do super good. So, let's try to show that off again, and not make me look like an idiot. See, they stick to the unit, so, and with far range, close range units, like the halberd, that can make it really tough for them to get a good hit off. It can, doesn't always. But yeah, they shoot spines whenever they're hit, as well as just punching with, like, their cactus gloves. You know, I've always wanted to taste a cactus, just see what they tasted like, but that's besides the point. Let's see. Yeah, this again, they're a tanky unit, alright? They try to get up close and personal and do a lot of damage over time, and bank on getting hit by small, weaker attacks. Something that other units might dish out. And not super heavy hitting things like the chieftain. Say, and blue won after a very long time. So, next off, we have the Gunslinger. I don't know. These guys, they're cool. And they can do a lot of damage to smaller units and even wipe out entire armies. But their bullets do little damage, but because of the way they shoot them, like, they shoot a lot of them at once, but they do so little damage that it's absolutely nothing to an Ice Giant, even when you have 32 of them. The Ice Giant just doesn't die. How much do they cost? 650. That's pretty odd pricing. I mean, the mammoth isn't 650. There's 1,000. I might have to use the harvester. So, 650. Hey, we got the knight. Also, these guys... Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's the thing. I think this is just because of my mouse. When I move up, sometimes my cursor isn't fully on this when I click. So, why does that keep happening? I was about to say that's not a fault of the update. Alright, didn't happen that time. But these guys are unique in that they attack from above, which isn't something we've really seen before in tabs other than maybe with the Valkyrie, but they're not even a ranged unit. Also, they have a very slow reload time, so this guy's probably going to get bodied. Again, it needs to be covered by stuff like the miner and dynamite thrower. So, yeah, honestly, it needs fodder in front of it for it to reload quick enough and actually be all that useful. If we put another one, though, again, these guys, they dish out a lot of damage to some of the smaller units, but to some of the bigger units, they aren't all that much of even a nuisance. I'm not even sure if these guys will be able to kill them. Yeah, that was a lot of bullets. And here. Yeah. Look at that. He's like, has a third of his health left. After all of that. And to be fair, there's nothing saying that this gunslinger can't win. But, yeah, he just didn't. So, I don't know, not the best unit. Again, a lot of these units need to be supported by each other. That's kind of the thing. It's that they all need to exist together in an army than to be... How do I want to say this? Yeah, they all need to be in an army together, essentially, to have any of them be useful. Or not any of them. The cactus and the quick draw can be good, and I guess the lasso can as well. The lasso is my new favorite unit. Just because it's super fun to play as. 850. How about the Jarl? So, yeah. Basically, with the last... Oh my god, why does that keep happening? Honestly, I'm not sure if that's my cursor or the update that makes that happen. It could just be something that's happening on my computer. Okay, 1 second. Maybe I need to make the camera stay still or something. That's probably what it is. Alright, now let's say those. So what the lasso does is, well, they throw their lasso at the enemy. And if it hits, they get dragged and trampled by a horse. Which probably isn't going to be a fun death for them. They're also a big unit, so they get dragged behind pretty slow and don't get knocked down as easily. So this probably wasn't the best example, but it's the only unit that's even similar. Oh yeah, and also when the horse is dead, this is kind of important. The lasso will... Oh, crap. I didn't mean to do that. Will get off his horse and throw his lasso and just kick the enemy, kind of like the harpooner. So, yeah, also they can catch Valkyries, and I just find that really funny. Shields block the lasso, and Samurai can deflect it. Let's find a slightly better one. I wonder if there's any other things that cost $850. Not there. 1,500. We'll try the Harvester. We'll see if the lasso can beat the Harvester. Again, most of the time it's gonna need another army around it to distract, and that's what its main role is to distract while using its lasso to keep an enemy in place, while stuff like the Quick Draw and Deadeye can get their shots off, can get some free shots off. And, yeah, without that, it's not exactly the best. So, again, most of these units struggle against other things in their weight class, unless they're all put together in one singular army. When they're all apart, it doesn't work as well. And I think that was kind of, maybe not a theming, but, I don't know, maybe something we're going for in this faction. as, like, stuff like, again, the farmer faction and the medieval faction, you can just toss those units anywhere. 1v1, they're good. This is more meant to be, when they're on their own, they're not all that good, but when they're supported by the other units in the faction, they're amazing. So, I don't know, it really makes you think about how you're gonna spend your money, and you use stuff like this. Also, this battle is very long. They usually make battles very long. So yeah, that's kind of their thing. So, yeah. Oh my god, sorry about my phone. But yeah, they do more damage over time and try to keep units at a medium range distance and unable to hit, so then the horse can kick. And apparently the lasso also does like a little bit of damage. But see, they don't have much health. That's their one main thing, and they aren't as good as the other horses. Or some people would call them wobbly horses. But yeah, again, struggle against other things in their weight class. I'll make a whole team out of these guys at the end after I'm done showing off all the units and secret units. I just have to check something real quick. OBS. How long are we running on? 16 minutes already? Wow. Whatever. So here we go. Now we have the Deadeye. It's good, but kind of disappointing to me. They have low health and die very easily. What's their cost? 900. Like, alright, they're a worse version of the Ballista to me, if I'm gonna be honest, okay? They have really high accuracy and do a lot of damage in that one shot, but they take forever to reload. Not as long as the Ballista. But and their range is worse than the Ballistas as well. I mean, they have good range, but they're best to be taken control of. And, yeah. Because of how long it takes them to aim and fire, I just think the Ballista's a better option, and they cost the same. And they cost the same amount. If we give them... And, like, another thing. The Samurai completely counter this unit. There's no reason in having them if you're just doing that versus Samurai, since it's literally impossible for the Deadeye to win. Now, let's go for, say, 3 hoplites. All decently spread out, as I don't think so then they can't get collaterals. Their range is good, and they almost always hit their shots. Almost. Not all the time, just most of the time. So, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Also, they glow a bit when they're being targeted, and they have this little icon on them. As you can see, that icon, that's the crosshair. Like the laser you'd see on an M16. But you need to have these at a far range, like, say, back of the map, for them to even have a chance of being good. And, again, you need other units to support them. Since if they were both, like, at a mediocre distance, say, at the post right over here, and then these guys were just over here, they probably wouldn't have won. Well, these guys would have won. So, yeah, they need distance and a lot of support, and I just don't think they're worth 900. I mean, it's not a bad unit by any means, but, yeah. Then we have the Quick Draw. Very good unit. Glass cannon, though. Basically, fires fast, shoots fast, does a lot of things fast, can one-shot squires, can one-shot a lot of things. But they can't take a hit very well. One of the Scarecrow's magic birds is probably just gonna murder them. And I guess there's no better way to prove that than Exhibit A. Also, they don't have the best range. That's my main gripe with them. I mean, they are really good, don't get me wrong. They just need a proper setup. And these are one of the few units in this faction that can stand on their own, but... Yeah, and he shoots at the birds. He gets very distracted by the birds. Alright, he can take at least 2 birds. That's actually a lot better than I expected. So yeah, 2 birds. That's... So he did win against the Scarecrow, and he can take probably 3 before dying, I guess. I only thought he could take 1. Maybe there's another patch or something that increased the health or something. I'm not sure. But there you go. That's the whole Western faction. And then we have the 3 secret units. Start from worst to best with the Ball and Chain. Here's the thing about the Ball and Chain. Again, it needs to be supported by other things. That you're gonna hear a lot of that in this video. Like, there was another one. The Executioner, I think. Yeah, Chuko Nu and the Executioner all are in the same weight class as the Ball and Chain, and we'll face the Ball and Chain off against both of them. Alright, and now let's look at this. So, really, I thought he actually did a lot better than I thought against the Chuko Nu. Wow, I actually thought that the Chuko Nu would just body him. Also, yeah, instead of throwing him like a ray-skinned rock thrower, they tackle with him to make him unique. They also can hit with him at close range. Honestly, I didn't have much faith in that. But I guess maybe it's good anti-range. I don't know. Then we have the Executioner, who, from my testing before this, just bodied them. By the way, we'll look at the map in a second. But yeah, they just get absolutely bodied by the Executioner. And, you know, if you're going... I guess because it's a melee unit, I guess it wants to go against range units. But it has to be at least okay against other melee units, and stuff like the Executioner is just so far out of its weight class. I don't know, like, immediately. Already dead. So let's try a Chieftain, to see if maybe the Executioner is just a fluke, and because it does a lot of damage and has a lot of health, but isn't very fast. I don't know, maybe that's just a bad combination for whatever the heck it's called for, the Ball and Chain unit. Oh, excuse me, still have a bit of a cold. Then again, when don't I have a bit of a cold? I'm always sick. Maybe it's just allergies, I don't know. Maybe it can beat the Chieftain. I'm not sure. But I don't know, maybe it secretly is good against other things higher than its weight class, but things under it are tougher for it to handle. I mean, I guess it can take a couple hits from Chieftain, but I don't know, it's not going to be winning any awards. It's not a filler unit, it's actually really unique, and pretty good compared to a lot of the other lower class units in you know, the secret faction. I'm not sure if this is considered faction. With the secret units. Like, you got a good 7 before, you know, you hit it. And even then, you can take down the Chuko Nu fairly handedly. And probably take down the Taekwondo as well. Excuse me. After this, we have the Bank Robbers. Now, I'm gonna switch to a simulation map. Map select. Simulation. Mainly because on the Western map, I'm not sure if this is just for me or for everybody, they just don't work properly. I don't know why. Crap, where are they? Yeah, right here. Also, 850. The only other unit that's 850 is the Jarl, that I'm aware of. I don't know, there might be something in the Renaissance faction, but, yeah. Alright, by the way, the Spooky faction is very unbalanced. It has 4 cheap units, and then 3 really expensive ones. But back to this. The Jarl. Yeah, that's what I needed. Okay. But for some reason on the Western map, they just don't like to throw the safe properly or even carry it properly. And they both die. Again, another unit that needs a lot of support to work. So I'm gonna get back to the Western map, because there's not really much more talking about this one. I'll try it again on the Western map, but in my tests off camera, it just wasn't working for me. I'm not sure if that was just a fluke. I restarted the game multiple times. I don't know. Maybe, again, it got patched in an update or something. Maybe it works this time, in which case I would be very glad if it worked. Alright, there we go. Maybe there's a little bit up here where it's like a colliding box or something, since the camera was completely stopped. So maybe I just need to be in the exact middle of it. Yeah, okay. So there might be a little bit of a colliding box on top. But yeah, see this? I saw this a lot yesterday. I'm not sure if this is a glitch or if that's the intended function. But there you go. There's my 2 cents on them. Now, after this, we have a really overpowered unit when used properly. We have the Gatling gun. Again, I'll go over the map and show where all these secret units are found. So, we have the Gatling gun. Let's see, what's another thing? 2,000. Alright, whatever, 2,200, close enough. Actually, there might be something better here. Zeus is 2,000. We'll go with Zeus. By the way, Zeus got nerfed to heck in the recent updates. Like, just any update, Zeus was pretty much just nerfed. And I think that he should be able to throw a bunch of chain lightning and stuff again, since he used to be one of the most overpowered units in the game, and now he's not. Now, like real Gatling guns, it takes a minute to wind up. It'll shoot once, very slowly. It takes a minute again. And then it shoots slightly faster, and then faster, and then faster, and then faster, until it's just going to be a full-speed Gatling gun. Which, if it can get to that point, is very good, and when there's a lot of them, which sometimes you can afford. Like, if you have $10,000 and get 5 Gatling guns, well, I would actually get 4 and spend the rest on miners, again, just to cover for damage. Yeah, the shots are weak, but because of how fast they are, I can kind of understand this. Not as weak as the gunslinger shots, but yeah. So, yeah, there you go, a blue victory. Apparently a Gatling gun can defeat the god of gods, Zeus. So, those were all the units for you. And now, while we're here, I guess let's do a map review. Except in tabs this time. So, one, I really like the aesthetic of this map. I like how it's just a western town, and it doesn't try to be anything else. It sticks to its guns and works well. You got a bank, a hardware store, a saloon, sheriff's office. Let's see. Guns Tobacco. Ooh, my favorite store. You got the bank, which there's something special in there. I'll show that in a sec. And then you got stuff over here. You got a few buildings on these side roads. Again, the saloon over here. And a lot of these aren't even labeled, which is fine. And personally, I'm fine with people not even being able to go into these. Like, I didn't expect that. I was like, you know what, this is already a huge map, I don't mind. I also like how you got the more rural bits. Back here, you got some cliffs. This is one of the best maps, in my opinion. Mainly just because of how big it is. You also got a church over here, which I didn't mention. You also got this gigantic rock. You got that rock over there as well. And if you go over here, there's a train track that leads into a mine. And there's nothing special that happens here. It's a nice detail that I didn't expect them to add. This really reminds me of Ancient Sandbox, which was already one of my favorite maps just because of how big it is. You also got some dead trees, more cacti. Now for where the secret units were. Let's see, where was the first one? First one I think was back here. First one I found, at least. This wasn't the first one I found, but this is the ball and chains area. I found the Gatling gun first. But this is the ball and chains area. Basically, it's just a ball and chain and an old prison carriage. It's nothing too special, not too hidden, doesn't try to be. Maybe it was over here. Yeah, it was over in this area. If you were to go behind these stairs, the Gatling gun would be right back here. And I thought that was a good spot for it, as when everyone knew it was going to be a secret unit, I was like, well, wait, where are they going to hide this? It's a Gatling gun, it's pretty big, but they hid it back there, and I thought that was a clever hiding spot, even if it was literally the first one I found. Now, for the bank one, now for the prison... Not the prison bankers, what am I saying? The bank robbers. Now, I'm gonna get a bunch of bards, since a bard literally can't do anything against another bard. So, I guess just 3 each. Alright, and then over here, this is the most efficient way I found. I'm gonna put a Deadeye. Then I'm gonna hit start. And then I'm gonna pause it. Oh god. I hit the wrong button there, sorry. And then, we need to use the unit possession feature. By the way, did they already target something? No, alright, not close enough, I guess. So yeah, I'm just gonna go let the bards do bard things, I guess. So if we walk around this way, there's some weird stuff on the walls, kind of indicating it. But if you go to the back of the bank, just over here, and you see where this cactus is? If you shoot right next to it, okay, I guess units have a hard time walking to the side. Right here. Right, need to wait for it to shoot first, I guess. It blows a hole in the wall. And there would be a safe right there. But from my experience, after that, you would have to go back to map select. And then when map select was there, you'd have to go back here. And you can't go to the main menu to do this, by the way. This is what it was. Maybe it got fixed in, again, a recent update. Maybe a bug fix thing. But it's still broken. It wouldn't be if you went to the main menu. But because of the map select thing, if I went through here, then I could get the bank robbers. It was one of the most complicated units to get. And I honestly thought this was going to be a hole in the wall, like about over here in the alley. Since you can't really see much. But there you go. There was your map review. 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Pretty good. So there you go. That was pretty much the Western faction. Oh yeah, and I did promise I would make what I think the best setup for the Western faction is. So I would start off with 1 quick draw and 2 Deadeyes. Over here, as the Deadeyes need range, and the quick draw is a good unit to have in general. Then I would have 2 lassos right over here. Is because they're such a good distraction unit, they give these 2 a lot of time to shoot. In fact, I think the quick draw and what's his face, the lasso, are the best combo of units there is. And then I would get like 3 gunslingers right over here. To do their damage. With some cacti right over here. Okay. Like 4 of them. Maybe 5. Yeah, 5 sounds like a better number there. And then I would have, let's see, 4 miners on each side. Alright, there we go. And then, between all the miners, a bunch of dynamite throwers. And like halfway through the battle, when the dynamite goes off, it's just a wave of explosions. And personally, I think that's the best setup. If I was playing the campaign and had enough money to make that, then I would, as it uses everything. So yeah. As far as matchups to other factions go, I would say they're much better than the tribal faction, much better than the farmer faction, much better than the medieval faction, and much better than the ancient faction. Viking, they're about... I'm gonna add the secret units to this, actually, just so we can get a nice overview of all the units. Yeah, you know. I guess we'll just put the ball and chains there, even if that's not optimal. Guy with the safe right there. And then, finally, Gatling gun, I guess, just over here. So yeah, they stack up to the first 4 factions really well. Viking faction also stack up to really well, but the Berserkers give them a lot of trouble. And now the Dynasty faction. They aren't the best against the Dynasty faction, as the Dynasty faction has the Samurai in it, which can deflect projectiles, and a lot of these have projectiles. You know, you got Lasso, Deadeye, Quick Draw. A Cactus has some, but isn't useless. They actually can't defend against the Gunslingers, but that's still 3 units that they can fully... Oh, and the Gatling gun. So, 4 units that they can pretty much fully defend against, at least early on. And then 1 unit that they can partially defend against. So they stack up mediocre to this, other than, you know, the Monkey King doing its jump into battle thing and completely tearing up anything you have. There's not much to worry about. The Dragon's okay against the Western faction, but it's most likely to get taken out by a Quick Draw, Deadeye, or Gunslinger first, or a Dynamite Thrower or something. Firework Archers are just as overpowered as ever against anything. Ninjas you don't really need to worry about. Renaissance faction don't need to worry about anything except the Jouster and Da Vinci tank, and even then the Da Vinci tank isn't really going to be used all that often because of how expensive it is. Also, Renaissance is my least favorite faction, but alright. Then we have the Pirate faction, in which case the Western faction, the Wild West faction doesn't stack up very well at all against. Stuff like the Flintlock it can handle well, bomb throwers are okay, but the Blunderbuss can take a lot of projectiles, not the Gunslingers, even though it should be able to, since, as you can see, the Blunderbuss has a hat. But let's continue. Cannon does a lot and is much better siege than the Gatling gun, and the Harpooner isn't all that much to worry about. But the Captain and Pirate Queen are so good and much cheaper than the Da Vinci tank that the Western faction can't really defend against them very well, at least. Spooky faction, because how unbalanced the Spooky faction is, they can get pretty worked by the Western faction, I'm gonna be honest. The Spooky faction isn't the best against the Westerns. And then the secret units against all others. Sorry for that voice crack there. Ball and Chain works against things lower than its weight class, and it's good for bullying a bunch of kids at a playground. This is just a discount longship. And the Gatling gun is just really good. So, if you can, use it. If you can't, don't be too upset about it, I guess, since you got the Quick Draw. So, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the Western faction. I would do the campaign today, but I don't know, I might in a different video. Just not right now. Bye, guys. Oh, yeah, also, I need to do my outro. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and checking out some of my other videos, especially the Garry's Mod ones. And if you really liked it, like the video and subscribe. Alright, bye.